could do a whole hour.
Well, you've got 3 minutes to tell us cool stuff about the Haunted Mansion. Ready?
Better be good.
Go.
Penny.
So the Haunted Mansion was originally going to be this decrepit mansion. It was always in the map of Walt's original project. But Walt, when Disneyland was finally built, he was like, I don't want a decrepit mansion in my park. So that's how it became this sort of gothic New Orleans style that it is now in Disneyland, because he didn't want something ugly like tainting his park. So it did go through a lot of phases. It was originally going to be a walkthrough about a pirate captain, but they were like, we can't get enough people inside. How are we going to get enough people in and out for a walkthrough? So then it was a ride with about a vampire and a werewolf. There was also going to be a pre-show called the Museum of the Weird, which would have had a talking chair and all this weird stuff walking around that you just hung out in this room and then went on the ride. The only person who liked this idea was Walt Disney. And then in the development of the ride, Walt Disney died. So everyone was like, now we don't have to make this fucking thing anymore. So it was then spearheaded by Mark Davis and Rolly Crump, who are two legendary Imagineers, and but they had two very different visions for the ride. So one of them wanted it to be really fun and goofy, and the other wanted it to be really scary. Instead of deciding which one it was going to be, they split it in half. That's why half the ride is super duper spooky and scary, and the other half is super duper fun and great. Now, when they were bringing it to Disney World, the ride itself is a clone. But in Disneyland, it's actually underground because they don't have enough room at Disneyland for it to be on the premises. So the stretching room is actually out of necessity. It's an elevator. In Disney World, they didn't have to do that. So in the stretching room in Disney World, the ceiling goes up rather than the floor going down, which is fun. But they also changed the facade because New Orleans Square doesn't exist in Walt Disney World. So they had to change it to a New York Hudson house from the Revolution, 1770. So that's fun. The Tokyo Disneyland one is actually an exact clone of the one in
1 minute.
In Hong Kong. They have the best version of the Haunted Mansion. It's called Mystic Manor. It had to be completely different because the culture in Hong Kong, they have a completely different relationship with ghosts. They respect ghosts. They don't want to wake or encounter ghosts. They respect their ancestors. So they made Mystic Manor, which is essentially the same thing because it's just an effect show. It's a magic show, just like the Haunted Mansion. Really, that's all it is. So they made Mystic Manor, and it's pretty much an updated version of what they were originally trying to do, which was showcase their best magic tricks and their best tricks. And it's this amazing, there's all these projections and great things. In Disneyland Paris, it's in Frontierland. So it's called the Phantom Manor, and it's about this guy who his daughter was betrothed, and then they both died, and he's getting revenge on her betrothed or whatever. And so in the end of it, instead of the graveyard, you go into a cowboy graveyard, and it's you see all these ghost cowboys drinking and partying it up. And Vincent Price from Thriller, they just took his laugh from Thriller and put it in.
He's done.
That was impressive, though. Come on. That was
Good job, Andrew.
Can we do that again? That was really fun.
That actually, the Hong Kong part is actually especially interesting. I had a friend who went on it, and he was like, "Hey, it's different. They don't do ghosts over there."
Well, now I can't talk about it anymore, but it's my favorite Disney ride, and I've never been on it. But